a reflective piece written by BoxingScene.com's Thomas Gerbasi, Jacobs, I'm an A-class fighter. I'll show the world. Quote, you see, I got a big smile on my face because that's what I crave, Jacobs said. I crave for people to see the real Danny Jacobs. Not saying those knockouts were fake, oh, those knockouts are real. All of them, all me, laughs. But at the same time, I spent my entire amateur career putting a skill together. I want the whole world to be able to see it and not just view me as a contender or number two. I'm an A-class fighter. I'm a world championship level type of guy, and I have the skills to match it. So yes, I'm waiting to show the world exactly what I have in store. This is more of a reference to his upcoming fight with Gennady Golovkin that will be taking place March 18th, where clearly Danny Jacobs is having more of a response to the fans and overall media that are not necessarily having a go at him, but more or less counting him out. And this is kind of a little battle going on as far as perception for fans to go into this fight. While many see this, in terms of Golovkin, that this is his first real challenge or his first big name, there are still people at the same time who still see Golovkin as a overwhelming favorite. And if in the instance that Golovkin does win by knockout or however way that victory may come, that it's Gennady Golovkin taking care of business as usual. And which can be a double-edged sword because, in a way, this has been a perception mildly built on pro-Golovkin fans that, just assume that he blows everyone out the water, whoever the opponent may be, and also at the same time Golovkin detractors that are just trying to find a way to dismiss any type of challenge that could, or at least a good possible challenge, facing Golovkin. But, a good trend that you notice with some of these guys is that they will immediately side with whoever it is that Gennady Golovkin is facing. So, for instance, there was a good portion of fans that were thinking that David Lemieux was going to really get a go at Gennady Golovkin and hurt him and stagger him a bit. And while I would say David Lemieux was a respectable opponent, it definitely reflected in the fight because that was probably one of Gennady Golovkin's more technically sound performances throughout his career, and he definitely had the respect of Lemieux, at least going into the fight, where he boxed very effectively. And I would expect the same in this fight. Jacobs was also quoted in saying that he doesn't expect Gennady Golovkin to really just go, or at least to try to walk right through him. He would expect a smart boxing performance as well in this fight, meaning he's just not going to let me try to land blows on him. So with that in mind, I would tell fans to, like Danny Jacobs is asking for here, I wouldn't necessarily say that he's a top A-level fighter. I mean, that's up for him to believe, and that's his right too. That's part of the ego of a fighter to believe in their abilities. But he is definitely a live body in the fight and something worth having a strategy built around going into. But, this part of this piece here, written by Thomas, is, like I said, a reflective piece throughout his entire amateur career and the perception that was, or at least the expectations of Danny Jacobs throughout his career. He was definitely a promising fighter throughout his amateur career and was expected to do great things. So while minor setbacks like the Prague knockout and, obviously the blow of cancer and the time off for that, but there's also the knockdowns of by Sergio Moore that are still putting people into question on what exactly he can do up to this point. So there are things that can kind of, at least can make an argument on why people feel him, being, I wouldn't say an 8-1 favorite, but, definitely a underdog in the fight. But like I mentioned, at the same time, he's a live body. He does have a lot to offer other than power, and some decent boxing skill. Not enough for me to think that he could possibly pull it out. I'm among the belief that, Gennady Golovkin will more likely get a 7 to 9 round TKO over Danny Jacobs. But that's that's what the fight has to take place for, for us to actually see what happens. So don't count Danny Jacobs out completely, but actually really don't count him out too much at all. Again, this remains his Gennady Golovkin's biggest fight, let's say, and biggest test in his career up to this point. So, with that being left off, I wanted to give this chance to give a little preview for what today's podcast, later on, if Hands of Fire Boxing Talk, will be featured around. Will be basically our year-end awards, where we do a full review of boxing through 2016. Among the awards would be Fighter of the Year, obviously, Fight of the Year, Knockout of the Year, Potato of the Year, where that can really just be referenced into the biggest dud, biggest dud of the year, and also the WTF moment of 2016, and we got a good amount of nominations for that. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, take it easy, guys.